What's going on, y'all? What's going on? This is your boy DJ Fastnex here with another review of Secret Invasion. This is the review of the finale, episode 6, if I'm not mistaken. Hey guys, let's go ahead and start it off by talking about just how the episode starts off with Fury and his wife talking. They have a full blown conversation about almost like what's going on, where you at, kind of like a little small flirtations, trying to see if he was on his way back to her or if she decided she wanted to hang out with him. And so it's kind of crazy how they had that for what is coming. They had that conversation. That's how they started the episode off, and that's pretty cool that they left it off that way. So that was him having a conversation with her as he was leaving, get ready to go meet up with Gravik. So when he goes to Gravik, basically, as Fury does, he has to storm the compound. So he has the car come roll up as a distraction, and then he takes out, guns ablazing, those two security guards in the front. It's kind of messed up that Gravik knew what was getting ready to happen. He got rid of everybody else, but he let those two guys stay there to know that they were going to die. That's messed up. So he goes through the compound. As he's going through the compound, he starts being affected by the radiation there. Thus, from the last episode, Gravik told him, if you're going to come, make sure you bring some iodine pills because you're going to need them because of all the radiation. So he's moving slower and slower. So he has to take out the iodine pills to actually show us, the audience, that it is some radiation there and it is affecting humans. That was the whole. I'm gonna be real honest with you. That was the whole point of that. And so yeah, that's literally the whole point of the iodine pills, and just to showcase there is real radiation out there. So then we focus back on Rhodey with the president, and he's trying now to convince the president to start a war against the Skrulls and Russia, because apparently they've been plotting against America. Well, his cabinet, the other members of the cabinet, was trying to convince him, hey, let's be calm about this. Let's not make any crazy fast moves. Rhodey was telling them that this is all the information we need. This is all the proof we need. Let's go ahead and get this done before anybody else could get hurt and so forth. He basically was saying how they came at him, and it was just the whole point of just trying to start an international war to get everything in the ball running for Gravik's plan to get set through. So he was still taking his time, and I guess Rhodey convinced him to go ahead and pull the trigger. So then we go back to Fury walking through the compound, but before he even gets to Gravik, he comes across the scene from the night before, or the day before, with Gravik being attacked by the other Skrulls. And like I said in the last episode, I'm so mad that they introduced this new Skrull who was supposed to be trying to learn this new way of life and realizing that this is his people, and he's with his people. And you think that he was going to do more, they was going to give him more to do, but literally he just basically is just there just to die. Even just like his second in command on the last episode, he was just there to die for no reason. And so yeah, Fury walks across those dead bodies that Gravik took out the night before, and it's just like, dang, it's so crazy. So then we head back to Rhodey trying to find some type of way to get this president through everything. He gets a call from Sonya to basically tell him, hey, Fury is in the building, is on his way to come get the president. Move him. So they decided to move the president to the second floor or whatnot. And as they were moving it, Sonya was, hey, if you didn't think Sonya was a spy after the fact that she went through that little hidey hole after killing that Skrull earlier, or I'm sorry, torturing that Skrull earlier in the season, this definitely tell you, but she was taking people out like it wasn't nothing. and getting rid of the bodies too. You would think that she would be like that, but she was. So she's taking him out slowly, and so then now they kind of cut back to Fury, and he finally makes his way to Gravik. He's there with Gravik. They have a full blown conversation about why Gravik is doing the things he's doing, and why he feels the way he feels, and why he's acting out the way he's acting out. And he literally tells Fury the face that he's wearing is the person that Fury asked him to kill in the beginning. That was the very first person he had to kill, and that's why he wears the face. And Fury, basically gave that look like, man, I don't even know who this person is. I may have told you to kill him, but I can't remember. And later on, you'll find out why that kind of plays out that way. So he talks to him, and he tries to make him understand, why he did what he did. Fury is trying to make Gravik understand that. Gravik is not hearing it. Gravik is going full blown, telling him how that stuff affected him and made him feel, and how much he loved Fury and was down for the cause, until he realized Fury wasn't down for the cause. So, very, very powerful moment in the show. Yeah. So, after all that, Fury decides to give him what he wants, which is the harvest. And he gives Gravik a deal. He tried to make a deal with Gravik. Say, if I give you this, you can use it, make yourself super or whatever. Take your people off my planet and go terrorize some other planet. And that way we don't have to have no problems. So Gravik was like, let me see if it's real, my dude. So he takes it and verifies that it's basically real. And shoot, after that, it kind of goes back to Rhodey, as he's still trying to get the president out of the way. Finally, he gets to the room on the second floor, and he goes in to check. And it's funny because even the way she says it, it makes a lot of sense. Because I'm like, how did he not check the back of the door? But yeah, he goes in there, do the full check before the president's in there, and didn't even check the back of the door. And Sonya comes out, and she basically puts him on notice, like, yeah, we know what's going on. And then Fury shows up. So now you're like, hold on. How do we have two Furies? And this is where we go back to the scene where Gravik is now giving himself powers, and Fury is seemingly dying on the floor. And we're like, okay, they're not going to give Fury the power, right? Like, that can't happen. He's a human. Like, how could they do that? It clearly is made for Skrulls, right? That's how you think. But come to find out, it wasn't Fury, it was Gaia. Which I was like, this girl found a way to get herself powers again. Whatever. We need a fight. Whatever, cool. So, and they didn't want to. This is why I think they did that to her and not Fury. It's because even though Fury is kind of tainted already with just some of the choices he's made in this series alone, they didn't want to taint him anymore with giving him powers, especially the Super Skrull powers. And so Gaia was the one who had powers. So then we head back to where Rhodey and everybody is at the president's side or whatnot, and Fury shows up and says, "Hey, President, look, you got to stop the attack. That's a Skrull next to you." And the president was just like, I don't know, man. And my thing is this: the whole series has been showing us how if you shoot one of them or if you cut something off, parts of the body start changing back into the Skrulls. So my thing is, why didn't they shoot him, or why didn't they tell the president to shoot him just to check him out and see? And so the more and more that was going on, they end up having to kill. Not having to kill. They just end up killing Rhodey, so they could show the president that the Skrulls was by his side the whole time, and the president was freaked out. And so they finally get the president to safety. Blah 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 blah. So then we go back to this Gaia and Gravik, and now they're getting ready to start their fight. Gaia she's still Fury, and she punches Gravik out of the building. And Gravik is trying to understand, like, what the hell happened. and she comes down and she's walking through the fire, and then she turns into herself. And he's like, "How are you still alive?" Well, no matter, they start fighting. So in the episode before this, you literally see how many samples are in. Well, you know that it had. He said it was on the battle, that last battle for Earth. So that means it's everybody's DNA in there. The ones they showcase in this episode, and even I think some in the last episode, I think the total comes up to like 26 different heroes and villains, like within villains too, that they could turn into. So you do the whole thing with them going back and forth with different people. You have uh, Thanos, you have the Hulk, you have Carver's. I think it's Carver's Glaive. You have Mantis, and then you have Carol Danvers, Miss. I'm about to say Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. So they have all these powers, man. It's just like this fight is too crazy. And with all that happening, I don't understand how Gaia. Okay, so as a person who doesn't know anything, the fact that Gaia even had the one up on Gravik after he realized who she was and the power she had, why wasn't Gravik smart enough and actually had better training? I could swear I thought he had better training than her too. So, because she never was really part of the rebellion per se until later on when she got older. Clearly, probably right before her mom died. So, I don't think she actually had any real formal training compared to like someone like a Gravik who was training ever since he was young. So, that was crazy. So, I understand everybody's concern about that. But here's some perspective on that part that I want to talk about. You got to think about it. If Gravik was part of the team that went and collected the DNA from the heroes on the battlefield and made the harvest, that means he has studied these heroes. You got to remember, these heroes has been on Earth by this point. At this point in time, it's been a little over 10 years, or even more, that you've seen them battle. They've probably been next to them. Fury has probably told them things about these certain superheroes and stuff. Now, yes, with the Mantis and all that stuff, I'm pretty sure that came later, but I'm pretty sure they were also around to see how said powers work. So if they just kind of get just like the smallest inkling of how to use the powers, it wouldn't be too hard for them to, just magically do it. Think about it. That's how it is even when they get the people's memories. It instantly happens then. And even before then, when they change, they know how to traverse and do things in the body they're in. So that makes a lot of sense that way. But I still feel that even with all that information, Gravik shouldn't have lost to Gaia, especially the way he did. But then again, Gravik was also kind of off his knocker and going really, really crazy. So I can kind of see where he kind of just, dropped the ball on that. So yeah, we did have this whole battle with Super Skrull versus Super Skrull, and Gaia takes the kill shot. Now I'm confused on this, but I went to go look at Iron Man 3 just to double check, because it's been a minute since I watched it, to see exactly how they kill old boy in that movie, and they basically blew him up completely. So I'm not sure if shooting him through his chest, maybe getting ready his heart, would kill him per se. And that may be a little thing that happens later on in life that we find out that maybe he didn't die and they just have him, captured somewhere, or he's slowly regenerating, however the situation may be. But now we have a Super Skrull that is not technically evil, but in this universe that we have in the MCU, she is the strongest person in the universe as we know it. Now, I would like to agree with people when they say that, but then you got to think about the Eternals, which Thanos is an Eternal, and out of all those people, we would gladly say that Thanos is probably the strongest one out of those people that they have. So in this world, Thanos is an Eternal per se. So if you have these eternal people there, they're basically on the same wavelength. But the fact that she has Captain Marvel powers and all this other stuff like that, that's what throws the the monkey wrench in there to find out like, okay, what's really going on. So I mean, as far as we know, we got content from now supposedly until could possibly go until 2030. So it's a lot of new people that they can introduce. It's a lot of new ideas that they can introduce that show that yeah, she has all these powers, but she still can't contain with like one or two of these people that we're introducing, or these older characters that we brought that has they got souped up in their powers. So I wouldn't get too hooked up on the fact that she may be the strongest person in the universe right now. Yeah, the battle ends. She basically kills him, and she goes and she basically saves the surviving humans that's in that compound. Now, the one question I've heard people talk about is how are these people not feeling the effects of the radiation? This is my theory on that. It always seemed that the machine and the people's bodies were was right next to each other. But to be completely honest, I don't think that was the case. Because if you watch when Fury is walking through the compound, now granted we know it was not Fury, it was Gaia, but they did showcase that it was stages of how bad it got the closer he got to the actual compound. So they could be in certain areas where they're not as close to the radiation. On top of that, the Skrulls are a smart race. I'm pretty sure they may have put them in a room where the radiation could be blocked off. On top of that, being put into those status pods, status pods or whatever. I think that stops them from aging and everything like that. So that's the clue of saying, okay, if we got Rhodey now, who's been here, clearly looks like he's been there since Civil War, why hasn't he aged? And being that they were in that situation, I think the Skrulls made it to where they don't age, just in case, so they know what's going on, and they keep them fed. So, I mean, it's a leap. Don't get me wrong, it is a leap, but this is TV, so we got to just go with it. There's no need to get upset. I understand that when you look at the initial, like the initial media that you've seen, like you've read the comic books that showcase how this story actually played out throughout the whole, MC Marvel comics, and then you get the show where it barely even taps into what that comic book did. I can understand why people are mad, but you got to realize this is the world that they're building. One, it's a TV show, so they weren't going to be able to put everybody in there. Even if they did a movie, they weren't going to be able to put everybody in there. You get what I mean? And then who would really be, who like, a lot of people saying, oh, him being a Skrull since Civil War, that makes the end game ending pointless. I'm like, no, it doesn't. That puts the real stakes in it, because if you look at the comic books, that's how some of those people, they actually fought alongside the Avengers, knowing that they were going to take over. They did all the major battles and had all the situations go down as Skrulls. So it shows just how bad the situation is. And so I get the fact that that's how because think about it. If he was taken after Endgame, what is the stakes? We don't know how much of anything he did after Endgame. You know what I'm saying? So like, what are the stakes? Even if you want to say, well, if you say he was taken before Endgame, then everybody would still have problems with him and Tony's saying goodbye to each other at the end when he died. I feel like that's how big the stakes need to be with certain things. Like, yeah, there's a smaller stake when it comes down to everything in the MCU. But people should understand that who else were they going to get? Well, are we going to say Captain Marvel was a Skrull the whole time too? Or are we going to say, like, even if we use the new people that's coming on, they wouldn't matter. Like, if we found out that, oh, at this particular moment, She-Hulk wasn't a Skrull, or in Hawkeye, when old girl was being trained by Hawkeye, that wasn't Hawkeye, that was a Skrull. Like, it wouldn't be as dire as say, oh, that he was a Skrull, he wasn't a Skrull the whole time, so it wouldn't matter. The fact that Rhodey's been a Skrull for a good chunk of time and important aspects of the MCU, he was there as a Skrull, that puts a lot of stakes in it. And so people just need to chill on that. Also, after everything happens, they free everybody. The president, for some weird, well, not weird reason, but instead of realizing that the Skrulls and Samuel Jackson and Fury saved him, he wants to be like, nah, screw that. We're gonna kill all like, if any aliens step foot on Earth, we're killing them. We're getting rid of them because nah, screw this. And he starts that big uproar of these vigilantes going around killing people who they think are Skrulls and killing humans who are not Skrulls, but they thought they were Skrulls. And just a lot of chaos is being broken up. And one of the things I think, I was pissed because I really wanted him either to die or something to happen to where they basically lead real well into the new Captain America movie, where we know we're supposed to get old boy as the president. And so I wanted them to kind of give us a better scenario. I could kind of see how this scenario would put him in as president. And I think with Fury's words when they had that conversation of, you're doing that one term type president stuff, I think that's what they're going to do, and that's going to piss a lot of people off. But again, how else would you have done it? I think they could have added more stuff to it, but that is a logical way to get him out of there. We don't have to see him no more. We just know he had made some damage. Now it's time for somebody to come in and clean it up and quote unquote do it the right way. So it looked like they may just kind of end with him saying that, and that's it. There'd be no real resolution to what he said, other than the fact that when we come back to see anybody that's a president, it's not going to be him. Like, I think Ross is going to automatically already be president in the Captain America movie. Now, they may hint at things changing in the background of other things that should be coming out from now until then, but I don't know. I don't know how that is. And then, it was kind of weird that also after Gaia leaves, Sonya rolls up on her and recruits her. And I'm like, oh Lord, so what does this mean? And then on top of that, she finds out that there are more people. So I think a lot of people took that as Sonya having a game plan, and she was already working with the Skrulls beforehand, and she just didn't tell Fury, and that was her stash of humans. But the way I take it is, it wasn't that it was her stash of humans. It literally was after she killed the guy that was in her organization, she found out that it was a Skrull organization going on that she wasn't a part of, and she wanted Gaia's help to kind of clean that up. And when you go into that room and you see all those people that's in those pods, I think that is her finding out the same time Gaia's finding out that this was a bigger organization that nobody paid attention to. That's why she said what she said about this is what happened when you're not paying attention type stuff. And so yeah, she shows him, and then we get to this end scene, which I just feel like it could have been one episode where it's like he comes down and he does some work and then he goes back like nothing happened, and it's so crazy. And then the fact that they kind of paired that situation with him slowly getting back with his wife, but also like convincing her to come back because of she's better with the relations between different races. because she's her it's her race with another race, another warring race at that. So I know people are gonna be mad because the Marvels are getting ready to come. It's getting ready to come out in a few months, and there is probably not going to be any resolution or showcasing of this Kree and Skrull, you know, talk to see if things were going good, if they could change how they play with each other type stuff. I don't think that movie is even going to talk about it. So that's how that goes. And yeah, it literally ends with him and his wife leaving off and going back to the space station. And I was just like, I feel like it should be more. I feel like this series could have done more. I like what we got. There are some hiccups there that needed to be changed, but I feel like let's just go with it, man, because we're getting so much content, and the fact that they're getting ready to slow down means that the content it's still going to be a lot of content, even though they're slowing down on production of what they are trying to do with the shows and even some of the movies. It's still going to be a lot of content, and I feel like for right now, with the content slowing down, we're going to get great content. So I feel like all this is going to do, they're going to find ways to kind of like patch it up and make it look better later and fix the problems that we had in this. I feel like Armor Wars, they decided to change that from a TV show to a movie, was a good thing. So we may actually get more understanding of what happened with Rhodey between, before getting switched out and after coming back. We probably will get a whole bunch of information about that. So, I mean, I know a lot of people wanted closure. I did too. When it came down to finding out that Rhodey was there, actually giving us, other than the directors and everybody saying yes, he was actually taken in Civil War. I would rather had seen that in the show. But think about, even if they made that episode longer than it should have, the blurb they probably would have put in there compared to what we might get in Armor Wars. So, and even shoot, to be honest with you, we might get some. Well, no, I don't think we'll get any in that one. I was thinking maybe in Old Girl, Ironheart show, but maybe not, because that's going a whole other direction too. But we get a lot of content, and even with the shortage and how they're slowing down, it's still going to be a lot. And all we're going to do is going to get better. Just hope and pray that this strike doesn't go on longer than it needs to go. But yeah, I enjoyed the season. Not the greatest finale of a Disney Plus show, but hey, we got it compared to not getting it at all. So again, once again, my name is DJ Fastnext. I had fun talking to you guys about this. If you have any questions, concerns, anything I missed, you go ahead and comment down below. And until next time, I'll see you later.